Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with Immigration Attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this particular episode, I'd like to talk about the investment visa, not the non-immigrant E2, which I have other videos on that, but I'd like to talk about the EB-5 and alternatives to the EB-5. Because a lot of times people think the only way you're going to go get a green card through investment is to invest $1 million, and then magically, boom, you're going to have the green card. And it doesn't quite work out like that. Just so you know, the EB-5 has been around for some time now, but it's gone through an incredibly heavy amount of litigation on what every element means, on how to satisfy the elements, on what particular items are necessary, on how one qualifies, one doesn't qualify. Believe me, it is not nearly as simple as having $1 million, plopping it in an account, and the next thing you know, you have the green card. It doesn't work like that. Unlike other countries where they have similar types of investment type visas, where really you just do put money in an account type thing. Unfortunately, the U.S. is not like that. The person adjudicating your particular case gets no benefit from approving an unapprovable case or by giving slack where it's not due. In fact, from what I've seen, there is more harshness in the results with EB-5s than with other types of petitions. Now, keep in mind that when you're doing an EB-5, even if everything goes through, and even if it's approved, you get what's called a conditional green card, okay? It is not the real thing yet. You have to then prove 2 years after that you really have created the necessary employment, that you've created the necessary business, that you've done everything that's necessary in order to satisfy the EB-5 requirements. So the initial application is hard enough to get approved, but then afterwards, when you have to do essentially the petition to remove that conditional residency, it's also equally as difficult. There's no easy path to get the EB-5. Now, why am I telling you this? I'm not telling you to discourage you or someone you know from doing it. I'm telling you to give you a realistic expectation of what to expect. So if you call up some attorney and you say, look, I have $1 million to invest in a business. I want the EB-5. Can I have the green card in 2.5 months? And if that attorney says, sure, no problem, piece of cake, you might want to consider going somewhere else. Okay, if you're given the realistic assessment, and essentially what I do is there's a questionnaire that I put forward. There's information that I need. There's detailed queries that I make in regards to certain matters. There's risk assessments that are done. All that has to be done in order to, number one, have a realistic chance of going forward, and number two, being able to sufficiently invest in the business. Now, just on another side note here, you do have to have $1 million, and then if it's in a targeted or rural area, you can actually invest as little as $500,000. Not that that's a little, but less than $1 million, obviously. And what we're talking about here are dollars, not pesos. Okay, I once had a client ask me that question, and it was kind of humorous because obviously 1 million pesos is way less than $1 million. But in any event, the EB-5, if you invest in what is known as a regional center, of which there are many of them across the United States that have been approved by the immigration, then essentially a couple things you have to be aware of. One, you only need $500,000. It doesn't matter whether it's in a rural, non-rural, targeted, non-targeted, it doesn't matter. It's $500,000. And then secondly, while you'll be on essentially the board of directors of the regional center, you really will not get involved with the day-to-day operations. You won't get involved with, essentially standing behind the cash register and making sales go through. You will be giving your money, hopefully for a good cause. Now, the next question people ask is, okay, well, why don't you recommend me a regional center, and that's where I'll put my $500,000? Well, first of all, I can't recommend one regional center over another. I can give you facts. I can say, look, this regional center has been around in business for this long of a period in time. I don't know if you're going to get any of your money back. I don't know if you're going to make money. I don't know if you're going to lose it all. And I also don't know if the regional center is going to be out of business before you need to file the petition to remove your conditional residency once you hopefully would be approved for the EB-5. So you have to do some homework. And again, I can help with that homework. I mean, I can give you a list of the regional centers and some good statistics on each of those regional centers, but ultimately it's your decision where to invest your money, keeping in mind that, of course, there's the immigration goal of getting the green card, but then there is also the goal of making money, of not losing your money. You worked hard to get that $500,000, and if you didn't, someone did. So you do want to make sure that the money that you are putting into a regional center will be worth it and will be a sound business decision. And then, of course, I can let you know if it'll be a sound immigration decision. But in any event, that's how the regional centers work. And some people actually like doing the regional centers better because they don't have to come here and physically run a company. It does require half as much money, and the requirement that you have to make 10 jobs, full-time jobs, basically within the next 2 years pretty much doesn't exist, because the fact that a regional center has been certified by immigration is essentially a de facto conclusion that there are already 10 jobs that will be created through the virtue that the regional center has been approved. So that's how that works. Now, there's lots of idiosyncrasies with the elements of an EB-5, but all in all, if you're going to invest in your own business, you need $1 million to invest, and the $1 million needs to be at risk. Okay, if you're going to invest something, and no matter what happens to the investment, if you get that money back, then the money's not at risk. Okay, and it has to be a risk for purposes of the business. You can get a loan, and a loan can be part of the investment, but the loan has to have teeth in it, which means that if you don't pay back the loan, they can't, just say, oh, well, you're not of your word and goodbye. If you don't pay the loan back, then something disappears. Your house disappears, the business disappears, they foreclose on this, they garnish something or another. Whatever it is, there's teeth in the loan, and it's a real loan. Same thing with a gift. You can get a gift, but it has to be a real gift. It can't be, here, go get your EB-5, and then once you have it, give me my money back. It doesn't work like that. So you're going to have to make sure that when you invest in the EB-5, that it's a real business, that the money is $1 million and is put at risk, and that you also have to trace the money back sufficient enough to show that it was obtained by legal means. So if I exaggerate and say, it was obtained through a drug cartel by the sale of drugs, obviously that's not going to work. It doesn't matter how much money you have. So there needs to be certain tracing back to determine where the money came from, that it is legal, that it was obtained legally, and so forth. Because there's not a lot of people around that have $1 million disposable to invest. So immigration wants to make sure you earned it, you got it as a gift, you got it as a loan, however it was, that it is legitimate. Okay. And then you're able to invest it at that time. Now, if when my firm does the EB-5, we'll also do a 5-year business plan. We'll have lots of charts, lots of graphs, lots of numbers, lots of forecasts as to how the company is going to work, how it's going to profit, how it's going to make the 10 jobs, how it's already made some of them, hopefully, and we'll go from there. Now, once you get the EB-5, then again, within 1 year, within 1 year and 9 months, you file the I-29, the petition to remove the conditional residency, where you show everything in fact was actually done, where you show that you actually invested, and where you show that you meet the qualifications. Now the EB-5 is good because your spouse will also get a derivative lawful permanent residency. Your children who are unmarried and under 21 can also apply. So if you come from a country where you want your children to come to the U.S. to get educated and so forth, if they're approaching 17, 18, 19 years old, and you have the funds to do the EB-5, you might seriously consider it, because if they can hop on board your coattails and get the green card, it's going to make their lives a lot easier than having to go through the normal, if they come on a student visa, then the H-1B, then the PERM, then the I-140, then the adjustment. It's a lot more work and a lot more years for them to wait in order to do it. So I've given you a real basic understanding of the EB-5. Also, I hope I've imparted that it's not an easy petition to go forward. It will take a lot of work, but if you're serious about getting it and you go get the right attorney who knows what they're doing, then we'll be able to go forward and discuss it. So that's the basis of the EB-5. Think about it, and if you'd like consultation, give me a call. I'll be happy to help. Okay, more in the coming videos.